Let's talk a little bit more about outsourcing. What can you tell me about that?
Well, this is probably best suited for the big buck items. When I think about a web design or hosting a website or that sort of thing, these are things I wouldn't want to touch myself. Maybe some people have an IT department or something like that where they think they can do it. And the thing is, some of the tools are really pretty friendly. I work off a MacBook Pro myself, and I've been amazed at what I can do in terms of voiceovers or editing or building a website. But at the end of the day, if it's just not professional enough and somebody else could do better, as you've said so clearly, that's your face to the world. You got to be careful about this stuff. You mentioned the other day about how much reliance you put on these companies when you outsource them and some of the things you need to be concerned about.
Absolutely. You mentioned the professionalism. There's many tools out there that allow you to put up a website immediately. Google has new web pages. Squarespace is a very easy tool to use. WordPress.com is a free blog. WordPress.org is a paid-for hosted version, but many people can start these on their own. Really where the outsourcing comes into play is the graphic design, understanding the code, loading in the metric codes that allow you to review your analytics, customize CSS, maintenance. WordPress, as an example, has regular maintenance packages, so it updates. So the ability to back up your whole website and make sure that when you hit that update button that the whole thing doesn't get wiped out. This is the reason why I switched from a do-it-yourself website to a fully customized website that looks exactly the way I want it to, but I made sure that my website designer offers maintenance because there's an update button. And I'm a little bit too scared. I personally have quite a bit of knowledge about it, but it's not my expertise. And my website is so important that I can't risk it. So for me, I greatly understand outsourcing for design and website maintenance because it's such an important piece. I think you mentioned it very, very well. The high ticket item, the more important it is, the higher priority it is for you. Make a decision about whether or not you have the skills to do it, but chances are that there's an outsourced vendor that can do it much better for you because they do it every day. They do it all the time. They understand the concerns, the issues, the problems, and they are prepared for that.
Well, most people don't want to get stuck with a big bill for a website and then find the person's walked away or they're inaccessible or maybe they put in some intellectual property that wasn't appropriate or this and that. How do you screen these contractors?
Well, my first suggestion is to do your research on that company. Review their portfolio. If they're a website designer, review their website. If they're a graphic designer, look at their portfolio. See what they're doing. Ask questions about the kind of the services that they offer, the customers that they have, the fields that they work with, the industries they are specific to, because this will give you industry-specific knowledge. If you are, let's say, a tourism company, but they work mostly with financial services, are they going to understand all of the tools that are available to a tourism-based organization? So asking about the kinds of customers that they've had in the past, reviewing their work, and getting references. That isn't a new feature. This is something that we've always wanted to do, but it is really important now, specifically because outsourced vendors, the entry to business is very, very low. So if you are able to put up a great portfolio, who knows if you actually did that work? Talk to their customers. See if you can find out how responsive they are, how responsible they are, how easy they are to work with, how easy they are to talk to, their communication style, how they build, if they stuck to their statement of work or their contract. All of these kinds of things are very, very useful in researching where you're going to spend your money.
And then there's the ongoing relationship. There's apparently a difference between website design and website maintenance. What if you want changes down the road? What if you want to change your phone number or something like that? I know of at least one person who needs to change his phone number and he can't even find the guy who put up his website, has no idea where it is or how to access it or anything.
Absolutely. That's really, really common. So in that particular category, that's one that you want to be really clear about your expectations and your needs. And that specific, because your website is so important, you need to do even more research and be more diligent about making sure that that vendor is the right one for you. And I do have to say, intuition plays a part. If it doesn't look right, if it doesn't feel right, if something's uncomfortable, if you speak to their former clients and you can hear in their voice or in their tone of their email that they're not over the top happy, listen to your intuition as well. This is going to make you help you make sound business decisions.
Well, I know that there's going to be some sample contracts on our supporting website for this program that might give people some guidelines. And typically, we think of the outsourcing in regard to the big ticket item, the website and its functionality and ongoing maintenance. But what about using contractors for or outsourcing the social media applications?
This is a big concern. I get this question almost every single day. Somebody forwards me an email from an organization that has cold called or cold emailed them about maintaining their social media accounts for a monthly fee. And the monthly fee is always shocking to me. It's always much higher than I think it should be. But my main concern, and the first question is this outsourced vendor going to be able to speak to the nature of your business? If I sell roasted garlic salsa, do they understand the different kinds of garlic that are available? Do they understand the process of actually roasting that garlic and the kinds of peppers that we use, the temperature that it's cooked at? There is something about your voice that really can't be duplicated. In social media, it is very difficult to get the same tone of voice from an outsourced vendor that you or somebody on your staff would do themselves. So this is a very careful decision you need to make. Outsourcing your social media accounts, you need to be very careful about the type of material that they produce, but because social media is real and right now, it is very difficult to capture that lightning in a bottle and the ability to speak specifically about the sun-roasted peppers that you use in your salsa. A vendor is going to have a difficult time even knowing that information or conveying that to the public.
Well, then it seems like on the one hand, if you're going to do it internally, you need to be able to be professional, stay on brand, and avoid any intellectual property snafus.
Absolutely.
But if you went with an agency, there's this loss of personalization, perhaps, or it may just cost too much. So those have to be weighed in that thing. Well, the other thing about outsourcing that comes to mind is all these pamphlets that small business people get. Last friend I talked to said he gets about 20 a week. Increase your search engine optimization. And it's like they just get these things all the time saying, this, spend money here, spend money there. I mean, how is a small business person supposed to deal with this deluge of marketing, of all these things? And we know that some of them are probably just get-rich-quick schemes that somebody has. But how do you tell the good from the bad? I mean, in a way, you said, check them out. But what do you think of all those things, all that marketing that's going on?
Really, what I do is I set them aside and I look back at my strategy. What's important to me? Because you can get inundated all day long with sales pitches and get distracted. Really, what's important to you? Set them aside and look at your strategy. What are your priorities? What's most important to you? I have a feeling that SEO and being on the first page of Google isn't your first priority. And that's what almost all of those pamphlets say.
Good clarification. Getting back to the planning.
It's not about what they want to sell me. It's about what's important to me.
Gives me goosebumps.
It's really, really true, because all day long somebody's going to try and sell me a Lamborghini. But if a Lamborghini is not important to me, then that's money I don't need to spend. That's a lot of money I don't need to spend.